Welcome back, Nick Lenz's movie reviews, and today I'm going to be doing it's a double shot number 8, and I'm going to be doing two films: The Mummy's Hand and The Mummy's Tomb. Basically, the two movies on this disc of his legacy collection. Talk about those, okay? Now, The Mummy's Hand was released in 1940. And, of course, The Mummy's Tomb was released a couple years later. Now, the thing with this film is that, now, it's a completely different mummy. There is no Imhotep at all in this film. It's mainly just, it's a brand new mummy. And he's called Karis. Just kidding. My headphones here. Anyways, yeah, it's a brand new mummy. His name is Karis, and for this film, but the following film is played by a completely different actor. The guy who plays him, his name is Tom Taylor. No, not Tim. No, he's not related to the fictional character from Home Improvement. That's Tim Taylor. This guy was also noteworthy for being in a little research done with him. I've done on him. He is known for being in low-budget westerns, and he was Captain Marvel in the Captain Marvel serial from the, I think it was like late 40s, early 50s, the one where Captain Marvel's a murderer. Yeah. Now, pretty much the story is that Karis wanted to. Now, he pretty much the same fate had happened to him as it did with Imhotep. Pretty much what they did is that they actually used the same footage from. They used stock footage from his from the flashback of his origin story. Pretty much it's the same exact origin story as Imhotep. That, well, similar in a way, except he actually stole some scrolls, sacred scrolls, mind you, in order to resurrect his dead love. Okay, and he let's see, he basically was captured, and he was buried. He was mummified alive. Except they did one additional thing they did not do in the previous film, was that he had his tongue removed. Yes, his tongue removed. I'm not kidding. That's what happened to him. And the way they kept him alive, and he was actually still alive. So there was a secret order that kept him alive. He was basically there as a bodyguard for another mummy. The princess was Anakin, a completely different princess in Akhenaten from the previous film. And there was these two archaeologists, I think it is. Yeah, it is two archaeologists. The Karnak cult is the one who keeps an eye on him. Whose names are Steve Banning and Babe Johnson. Steve Banning is played by Dick Farrion, and Babe Johnson is played by Wallace Ford. Now, this is a pretty, well, the plot is simple. Basically, that now the mummy. I should also tell you that Tom Taylor stays in the mummy wrappings the whole film, unlike in the previous film where Boris Karloff was only in the wrappings for about 10 minutes. This film, he stays in the wrappings the whole time, and basically, how he's kept alive is quite somewhat ingenious in a way. There are these things called Tana leaves. Yes, Tana leaves. It's a recurring point of interest in this film and the following three films. Basically, they use 3 to keep his heart beating, despite the fact the guy is officially dead. They give him 9 leaves so he can actually move. And if they give more than 9 leaves, the guy goes on a rampage, and he drinks basically the Tana leaves are turned to a liquid, and he drinks them. That's how it works. And pretty much the new high priest is meant to just, just have him basically protect. He basically tricks the archaeologist in order to get Karis on the loose. He's kind of, well, not exactly tricked per se. His he actually assumes identity as the head of the Museum of Cairo, and the whole thing of, oh, outsiders steal all the Egyptian artifacts. Not technically, no. And I mean, this is set in 1940. That's just simply the film is set. And Karras kills off a couple people in the film, and he just goes around killing. He kills off this girl's father. Despite the fact the guy is shot many times and he's burned, he survives the sequel. I mean, overall, The Mummy's Hand is a pretty good movie, but for the Karras films, it's actually the longest out of all of them. The Mummy's Hand is only an hour and 10 minutes. The rest of the films are really, really short. So if you want to watch all of the Mummy movies after the first, if you want to watch the Karras movies, you could probably get through in just a few hours because these movies are really, really short, just barely over an hour long. And this is a pretty enjoyable movie. And the movie kind of ends kind of on a happy note. But then the film series does something really bizarre. With the second film, which comes out 2 years after the previous film, they jump ahead 30 years later. Yep, they jump ahead 30 years later. With The Mummy's Tomb. It's 30 years. So it's a possibility this film takes place in 1970. Which they have a new mummy. It is Lon Chaney Jr., aka the Wolfman. Yeah, he wears the makeup. Pretty much he's the mummy for this movie and the following 2 movies of the series. And pretty much his job to do, kill all the Bannings and kill Babe Johnson. That's simply his job. And he does. He kills them in the first few minutes. Pretty much he kills the surviving cast member from the previous film. And he just goes around killing people. And of course the film was in New England, not in Egypt like it was in the previous film. Oh yeah, also I should mention this too. The High Priest, he gets shot by Babe Johnson in the previous film. And somehow he survives being shot and falling off a humongous pile. Basically, there was these big steps that lead to this temple. Basically, it's kind of like the Mayan pyramids down in Mexico. He survived that, and apparently the way he survived is that his arm was crushed, despite the fact the guy was shot 3 times. What looked like in the chest, he survived. Oh, I should also bring up the fact this guy also comes back in the following 2 movies, and pretty much they don't exactly recap Karras' origin story in the next film because people kind of remember, because it's only been 2 years since the previous film, so it's like, okay, people kind of know exactly who Karras is, and they kind of give sort of an explanation for him at the beginning of the movie. Like, they kind of basically think that everyone else is like just random, like it might be some story that Steve Banning probably just told, that he just told his kids, stuff like that. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing about Lon Chaney. He hated being the mummy. Yeah, he hated it. And pretty much that one that does happen in this film is that the final battle takes place, unlike in the previous film where it took place in a temple, this one took place at a burning house, which he survives. Yeah, he survives being burned. So, Karras survives first by, well, first from being mummified. Then he gets, I think he's been burned twice now. Yeah, the mummy's been burned twice, and he's still moving. And the guy shot 20 times. And now, the main character of this film is not the 2 from the previous film. It's a different banding. It's the son of the previous character, from the previous movie, where, oh, I should also bring this up. They do the same thing kind of also in the last film as well. The love interest from the previous movie, she gets kidnapped by the high priest, trying to make her immortal. And of course, Karis turns on this particular priest, and he even though he survives, but yeah, they kind of the whole thing of the high priest falling in love with the main woman of the film. They repeat this in the sequels too. I do not know why, but Lon Chaney Jr. does a really good job playing the mummy, and he plays the mummy 2 more times. Now, I should also mention that the last 2 films of the Karis movies, came out the same year. Yep. So, pretty much, what do I think of these 2 movies? The Mummy's Hand and The Mummy's Tomb. They're really good movies. Really good. And I give both of them a 10 out of 10 because they're classics. Actually, you know what? They're not exactly as good as the original Mummy film, so I'm gonna give both of them 9 out of 10. They're really enjoyable films to watch. Okay, so that's it for this episode. Stay tuned for the next episode, which is episode 33. I'm giving everybody 2 doses, 2 episodes. This I think I did 2 episodes yesterday, but I figured, why not? Besides, it'll get through the Mummy series quicker. Sure it would. So next episode, the last 2 movies, the last 2 Karis movies, and the last 2 regular Mummy movies before the Abbott Costello crossover. Okay? So until then, I will see you there. Bye.